Viewing audience, and acknowledge that nothing happens by chance, that we are all here by a divine appointment, that we heard the call and we answered. Our theme for the month is A New Day is Dawning. But the truth is, every single day of our lives, a new day is dawning. This morning's topic is the state of presence. Many years ago, I read a book by Joel Goldsmith called Practicing the Presence of God, which was an amazing and beautiful book. And then Eckhart Tolle came out with The Power of Now, and a chapter in it is the state of presence, living in that spiritual state of presence, where we are in the world, we're going about our Father, Mother, God's business, we're acknowledging our daily life as our temple and our religion, and we are in the world living out our lives, and there are certain things that come up in our daily life. And I'm sure you've noticed that these things do come up. And I love the ancient legend that there was a pool in Palestine, and once a year the angel of the presence would agitate the waters. Now, at Wednesday Night Live, our beautiful Peter Anthony talked about the waters of chaos, and talked about what's going on numerologically on the planet at this time, and the age that we are moving into. And in ancient Palestine, the angel of the presence would agitate these waters, and those who were experiencing or dis-ease or infirmities in their body, mind, or spirit, they would take off running to the pool once a year, and the one that got there first, jumping in, immersing themselves, was healed. Now, symbolically, when we throw ourselves into the spiritual current of life that the angel of the presence has absolutely blessed, we throw ourselves into life, into whatever we are dealing with at any given moment. Because in conflict resolution, there are the higher meanings, and we know that the light penetrates the darkness comprehendeth it not, and shadows flee away forever and ever and ever. That as we stand porter at the gate of our conscious mind, allowing those things in that serve, that we will move to the next level on the upward spiral of life. And we're not saying that this is easy, but I feel that it's much better than the alternative. And when we open ourselves to the recognition that there are things that are going on, and we surrender to them, we take them, we learn from them, we realize that there's a higher ideal coming in, that when it looks like people, places, and things have left our life, it's because right on the horizon, people, places, and things are coming in at a higher level. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. There was a woman that wanted to attain enlightenment, and so she went to India, to the Far East, and she sat in meditation for 8 hours. And the master, the Zen master, would call each person in, and they would always ask, "What did you learn?" And she would say, and she was so in awe of the Zen master that she would say, "I don't know." And he would take a stick and hit her and say, "Dismissed." So this went on for a while, where he would bring her in. "What have you learned from your 8 hours a day of meditating?" I don't know. And he would hit her with a stick, and she would leave. And finally one day she went in, and he said, "What have you learned through your 8 hours of meditation?" And she went, and as he lifted his stick to hit her, she caught it midair. He said, "Very good. You have learned how to stop the pain. What else have you learned?" So I notice that we come into metaphysics, we learn how to stop the pain. But then we got to get off that story. It's like we got to start telling a new story. We know people that tell the same story over and over and over again. You want to run the other way. You've heard it. You can recite it back to them. What have they learned from it? We go through these things so we can redeem ourselves and move to the next level. Not to constantly be telling our story and how awful it was. Not that it wasn't. However, energetically, where does that serve us? It does not. What did we learn from that experience? It's interesting, one of the people that I'm counseling went outside of her, she lives in the desert. She said she walked outside, and as she was walking on her path, this huge scorpion crossed her path. And she said, I walked back with, deep respect. And I said to her, the scorpion, the sign of transformation. Transformation is on the horizon for you. And the fact that you can respect the scorpion. And the scorpion is also a trickster, because people are looking at their little pinchers, and some people maybe want to get a closer look and looking at the pinchers, but it takes that long tail and comes up and stings the person. So to be very conscious and respectful of nature, and to recognize I give scorpions very wide berth, very wide berth, and that this is part of nature, and that went off somewhere in the desert and found its right place, or mate, or whatever scorpions do, right? But I said, this is very symbolic. When I was walking into the leisure center, and I was meeting with a woman named Vicki out to Parks and Recreation, and our beautiful Diane Shea set the whole meeting up, who also works for the city. And as I was walking in and through the doors to see the room, there was a red piece of string on the ground, a red yarn. Now, the ancients believed that we're all connected by the red string, that it can tangle, that it can really loosen up, but that we are all connected by the invisible red string, and that it doesn't matter in our relationships what occurs or how tangled it gets, that we will always be connected to the ones that we love. So there it was, and I said, oh, this is interesting. I picked it up. I love signs and symbols in life. I realize that the universe is communicating with me all the time. And I was walking the other day, and I'm giving our Wednesday Night Live on the Sacred Oracle of the Runes. And there was a twig, but it wasn't really just any twig. It was a special, special twig. And this twig is the symbol, I tied my little red string around it, is in the ancient rune oracle, the symbol of protection. Now there it was laying there as I was entering my car, and I picked it up and I thought, isn't that interesting that I am always protected, that energetically, that no matter what occurs, that there is a power and a presence within me that is guiding and directing me. The psalmist said, be still and know that I am God, that we are always protected, that energetically, that we go about our Father, Mother God's business in our day-to-day life. We have all kinds of experiences that occur. And when I was at Lulu's, where we have our Friendship Sunday, and I go there intermittently, one of the managers said to me, are you always this? She said, how are you? And I said, wonderful. And she said, wouldn't you say that whether you were or not? And I said, it's much better than the alternative. And do I have challenges in my life? Yes, I do. I said, once a week I go and see my daughter, who had 2 major surgeries since September 4th, and I treat with her and I am with her, and that she was in the hospital for almost 21 days. And what is so beautiful about people is that her employer took her and said, you can stay in our house, because they live in Central California. And all her doctors, she never released her doctors, are in Orange County. So she said, come to San Juan Capistrano, stay, we're going to give you our master bedroom with the window that overlooks the ocean. That'll be so healing for you. And so I was explaining this story, to one of the managers that really wanted to, get inside my head and think, no matter what happens, life is wonderful. No matter what challenge that arises through our experience, that when we're on the other side of that, that was the very thing that we needed. To go within, to realize our blessings, to give gratitude for this gift of life. Every conscious breath that we take, and the recognition that we are opening the space to allow God to do what God does best by means of each and every one of us. I said, that's a 6-hour commute every week. So yes, I have my challenges in my life. But I also love what I do and do what I love, and there is no greater combination in life. I have heard it all. Absolutely all. But I have also known that the miracle within it, the miracle that lies dormant and latent, is ready to arise triumphant and victorious. Just as you get one negative person in a small group, that they tap into the latent negative energy within the others, and they can all absolutely falter in that energy field and succumb. But you get one positive person in a group, that person can lift everybody up. They lift them up through the trials and tribulations of daily life or whatever it is that we're going through so that we can come out on the other side of it. Is life taking a stick and hitting you? Reach up and grab it. Realize that you have learned all you need to learn through pain and suffering. That Dr. Ernest Holmes said, we learn our lessons in one or two ways. One is by bitter experience, the stick. The other is by inspiration and intuition. I would much rather learn through intuition and inspiration. The still small voice of God. The chance meeting where it's not really a chance meeting. It's so wonderful that we have one of our snowbirds that comes, that he said, I was in Starbucks, and there was this radiant, radiant woman that was sitting across from me, and I said, would you like to join me at my table? And she sat down, and he said, what makes you so radiant? She goes, my way of life and our spiritual community. And he said, I'm here because of Alice Peterson, that she was in Starbucks, and I asked her to come join me. You know, 89 years young, going to be 90 in March, and that went in and lit up Starbucks energetically. We take our light with us wherever we go. We can be the light that penetrates the darkness, absorbs it, rises triumphant and victorious. That's why I've been doing what I've been doing all these years. And I've had 3 very substantial offers since I've been here in the desert, very tempting offers. And as I was sharing with Dr. Arlene yesterday, I felt that we have something so magnificent to do here in the desert. And as I affirm and declare that truth, I know at the deepest level that when we throw ourselves into the ancient pool of Palestine, and there is a healing, there is an energy, there is a current of life that flows through us. That blessed are they who have eyes that see and ears that hear. Eckhart Tolle said some of his greatest Zen masters were cats. You know, cats just do their divine thing, and they're not there to please anyone. They're there just to be in the energy field. They're the creature of beingness. And so he said, as I observed my cat, I learned from my cat. That we can learn from nature. I learned from my dog's unconditional love. I put them out, 2 minutes later they're hugging and kissing me and wagging their tails and love me unconditionally. And then the one goes to the treat jar and barks. He's gotten very aggressive, and of course, you know, my daughter said, Mother, you're the master, he's the dog. I said, oh, I forgot. Yes, because I always run. He's got me trained, Pavlov, and I go into the treat jar and I give him his treat. But energetically, it's all the sweetness of life. It's the energy of everything that we experience. And to have that willingness to learn and to grow, to be teachable, to have the humility to know that we're all still here because we have feet of clay. Some of us have nicer clay than others as far as our shoes, but I don't care. We're never going to take all our shoes with us. So enjoy them now. Enjoy the energy of the now moment. Practice the presence of God in your daily life, which is your temple and your religion. And when stuff comes up, how can I learn from this? What is this message in for me? And when we're out in nature, to be mindful that there are signs and symbols in nature. And something that looks like a twig, really, in the ancient runic oracle, is protection, that we are all deeply and completely protected. I sat next to Betty White one time at the Hotel del Coronado for a fundraiser for women. And she was telling me that she lived in Century City in a great big high-rise, and there were no pets allowed. But she said, I just couldn't let Fifi, I couldn't give Fifi away. I mean, I don't care what their rules were. I love rule breakers, and for the right reason, right? And she said one day the doorman opened the door, and we did our, usual every good morning, Miss White, good morning, Mr. Smith. She goes, and I walked out, and he goes, oh, Miss White. And she said, what is it? He said, your tail is wagging. She said, he knew all along, right? He knew all along. And she said, oh, is it? And what's so great about life is that we have all these amazing experiences. That when we break the rules for the right reasons, that the universe smiles, and there is laughter. And the prophet tells us that in the beauty of friendship, let there be laughter in the sharing of pleasures, for in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Practicing the presence of God is also about joy, which is the most infallible sign of God. Being mindful is to realize that we can put our hand up and say stop to the pain, to the suffering that we've endured. I was raised in abuse as a child. I had a lot to overcome. And when I came into this way of life, I was told that you can release that, you can let that go. And out of that, I had a healing with both my parents. And I'm so pleased about that energetically, that how it was when the scorpion crossed my path, I didn't step out to get stung. I gave it respect. I went within and energetically transformed through the renewing of my mind. Our 12th anniversary is about, behold, I make all things new. It's the crocus coming up through the snows of time. It's the energy of light that penetrates everything unlike itself. It's the opportunity to realize that this is a whole universe. Everything that we touch is God energy. And when we realize that, we let it all go. We let all of that energy, the negativity and ain't it awful and how hard we've worked, we let that go because that no longer serves us. What serves is learning through intuition and inspiration. What learned is there is a divine current in life, and as the angel of the presence agitates the pool, that we immerse ourselves for that divine healing. This is what we're about in this way of life. It's about going through what we need to go through, coming out on the other side, and then serving others. Those of you who are serving in the street fair, you know that when it's time to give back, it's time to give back. When you have learned and grown and you feel great about your life, it's spilling over onto everyone in your energy field. It's just time to give back. So today, I stand before you with profound esteem and the recognition that as we greet one another, as we feel that energy of one another, that something great and wonderful is going on, and we are a vital part of it. So I say, God bless you, I love you, and that we are going where? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Do you believe that? Yes, we do. We are going higher yet. It's a new day that is dawning. God bless you.